Hello everybody, it's Leaf. If you're anything like me, and your idea of paradise involves farming, fishing, crafting, mining, and taking care of cute animals, then a little game called Starsand Island might just be your next digital retreat. Toss in a bit of combat to keep you on your toes, and you've got the full cozy life sim platter served with a tropical garnish. Slated for release in the first quarter of 2026, Starsand Island feels like a spiritual cousin to My Time at Portia and Sandrock, but the general look of the game is more like Rune Factory crossed with Tales of Seikyu, those comic outline 3D characters prancing about against the more traditional backdrops. But truth be told, because of good lighting and detailed design of the environment, Starsand pulls it off better than both of those games and somehow manages to avoid looking flat. Now, while the full game is still simmering in the development pot, the recent Steam Next Fest gave us a taste in the form of a demo. And here's the good news. Although the fest is over, the devs have kindly left the demo up for a little longer. So, if you're a fan of the My Time series and you've been twiddling your thumbs waiting for something with a similar feel, I think this is it. The premise? Classic cozy core. You inherit a plot of land from your grandfather. But unlike many games in the genre, Starsand Island doesn't pigeonhole you into a single career path. You're not the farmer or the builder, you're just you. Although, when I think about it, you are, at least at first, something of a professional apprentice. Every major activity, from crafting to fishing to growing crops, has its own dedicated mentor, who is also a normal NPC, not just a glorified tutorial box. Becoming an apprentice actually involves whole quest lines. Having said that, I believe those quest lines are also the personal storylines of the mentors, so if you want to know them better, you have to train with them. You can increase your bond by just talking to them every day and giving them gifts, it's just that you probably won't get the whole story. Besides, even though the game doesn't force you to become anything, a lot of the progress is locked behind the apprenticeship quests, and many other quests obviously rely on your level of knowledge, so you don't have to become an apprentice, but there's literally no point in playing if you don't. The demo itself is short, just 5 in-game days, but surprisingly packed. You'll likely need a couple of playthroughs to sniff out all the content. I played this demo 3 times, and I definitely need to at least double that number. If you've played the My Time series, you might feel a gentle déjà vu creeping in as you boot up Starsand Island. The menu design and gameplay both feel familiar to an extent. The connection between My Time and Starsand runs deeper though, because it was revealed that 2 familiar faces from the My Time series, Gust and Ginger, will be popping by Starsand Island in the full release, of course, with Pathia's blessing. And yes, Starsand's developers, Chinese studio Seed Lab, they don't hide what inspired them. Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley, obviously, but also, yes, My Time at Sandrock, and, of course, Studio Ghibli, or Ghibli, or Ghibli, whichever pronunciation you prefer. Because the demo only spans 5 in-game days, you'll need to commit if you want more than a nibble of any particular questline. 1, maybe 2 story paths at best, unless you're some sort of cozy game speed demon with a spreadsheet. That said, the demo clearly isn't meant to let you just sprint to the finish line. Some quests take a fair bit of prep, and quite a bit of time. There are a few rough edges, as you'd expect from a work in progress. Some cutscenes and random dialogue lines haven't been translated yet, and while the existing text isn't all bad, it does have that unmistakable stiffness of machine translation. It's a temporary solution though, and the devs are upfront about it. Animations are a bit hit and miss. Some feel somewhat unfinished, but others are surprisingly graceful. But combat feels rather bare bones and clunky. I only tried the slingshot though, which might explain why every encounter felt like I was gently annoying enemies into submission rather than actually fighting them. In terms of crafting and farming, and almost every other activity, Starsand plays a lot like Sandrock. We have our basic work table, where crafting happens immediately, and a bunch of usual suspects, like a furnace or a cooking station, where you have to wait for the result. And the workstations can be upgraded. You can shake or kick trees before you cut them down. Farming is also quite similar. I haven't really tried building, although in the trailer it looks very promising. Fishing is a bit different, and we also have bug catching. And we can swim. And yes, there are mounts, but there are also vehicles like mopeds, motorcycles, cars, boats. However, what I really love is skateboarding. It's the most basic way to get around the island faster for free. And though the animation transitions aren't smooth, it's still fun and weirdly satisfying. Although I'm not sure one should skateboard on grass or sand, but I still love it. Now, a small gripe from yours truly. Switching tools in Starsand Island is a bit of a pain. You've got two options: pressing Q to open a tool wheel that actually opens in a separate window, or scrolling through tools with the mouse wheel. One interrupts the flow because it takes you to the menus, and the other relies on the most temperamental element of computer hardware known to humankind, especially in my case because I have to use an ergonomic mouse, and wheels on those are notorious for losing their precision very quickly. I know I should just get a new mouse, but still. I think this game is crying out for a good old-fashioned toolbar. But wait, there's more! Mouse wheel also cycles through nearby interactive elements. So here I am, standing in my garden, trying to switch tools, and instead, I'm toggling between every patch of soil. The only solution is to either move away from that spot, or open the tool wheel. Nothing impossible, but it takes time. So yeah, a simple toolbar or even the option to assign tools to number keys would solve this beautifully. Fingers crossed the devs have it on their to-do list. Alright, enough complaining, let's talk about the characters. NPCs have enough personality to be somewhat memorable, but they could definitely use some more. Maybe voice acting will help, and we know we can expect some voice acting to be there, English included, because it was already revealed that Gust and Ginger's English voice actors are coming back. Almost every major NPC gets a little introductory cutscene, and while a few are still missing, it's fairly obvious they're on the way. These scenes are short, sweet, and often quite charming, like the game's way of saying, here's your new best friend / possible love interest, please be nice to them. And yes, romance is very much on the horizon. For now, you can only go on one date per character, I think, I'm not sure. But it's unlikely to get the relationships much further simply because there's not enough time in the demo. Anyway, you can go on a date, and while it's just some innocent friendly chit-chat, every character gets a unique scene. And speaking of major NPCs, they are a mix of cozy game archetypes and eyebrow-raising surprises. You've got your classic tropes, the shy nerdy girl who teaches crafting and tech, the gentle soul who guides you through animal care with the patience of a saint, and then the edgy alternative-looking guy who turns out to be the local fishing expert. But honestly, it's fine, works for me, I'm okay with that. The map in Starsand Island is surprisingly generous, especially for a demo. There's a port you help repair, a big beach with a pier, a hot spring, and really atmospheric mines. There's even a bamboo grove where pandas have their own little house, because of course they do. Add in a restaurant, an arcade, a community center, numerous shops, and plenty of cute animals to potentially adopt, and you've got a town that feels genuinely lived in. Plus plenty of cozy nooks where you can sit down and contemplate your next move, or just admire the scenery while your character regenerates some stamina. Visually, the game is lovely. The characters are cute, even though a bit too cute for my taste, and the island itself is genuinely beautiful. Character creation is a bit limited for now, but hey, it's a demo. Fingers crossed for more options when the full game drops. All in all, Starsand Island shows a lot of promise. It might not end up being quite as distinctive or memorable as Portia or Sandrock, but it's definitely welcoming, warm and sweet. And when the full release arrives, I suspect there will be plenty to sink our teeth into. So here it is. For now, I've got no reservations and certainly no guilt about recommending this demo to you. It's free after all, and quite possibly the coziest way to spend a few hours without leaving your chair. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you in the next video. Take care.